I'll talk louder. So I'm fascinated with what's coming. I'm a futurist, I'm a bass player, I've had 7 careers. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my background, like why is this guy here, why is he talking to me about future jobs. I'm going to give you a little bit of what I call socio-historical perspective. I think it's always good to keep in mind where we've come from, how we got to now, right? Emerging careers, some ideas about what jobs might exist that you guys and gals might be doing. New learning and work models, new ways to get information and new ways to get employed. Then I have these exercises I want to do with you guys. My 3, what I call future career tools, voice, antenna, and mesh. So we're going to have a little interaction about giving you a sense of what might be coming and how you can think about what's coming. And then some closing comments. So let's talk about my background. I've had 7 careers so far in the 45 years since I graduated from a small liberal arts college with a degree in German literature. This I was interested in. I minored in music, to be fair. This is kind of a Gantt chart of the various things I did. Right after school, I got a gig touring with this rock band called Kendry Spring. This is me somewhere like in Omaha, I think, opening for Billy Preston. This is me in a studio in Oxford, England. I did a record at Richard Branson's studio, mixed it in London, did 3 albums with this band. When the band broke up, I moved to New York and became a studio musician. I did 2 tours and a live album with Robert Palmer, English pop singer, Addicted to Love, that was his big hit. Did a TV movie with Peter O'Toole. This is me at CBGB's in my leather pants with my Steinberg bass. Lived in Manhattan for 16 years. Got sort of tired of being on the road and said to my friends, what do I do to sleep in my own bed at night? They said, jingles, man, you got to get into the jingle business. You got to be a studio guy. So I cracked the jingle scene, first as a bass player, then as an arranger, then as a composer, and finally as a producer. And I was running, anybody know what this is? This is my first quiz. Probably not. It's way before you get your parents might know. It was called a synclavier. And it was a digital musical instrument with a Macintosh front end. Basically, it stored musical timbres as data. You could summon them to the keyboard. Probably the most famous jingle I did is I sang and played bass on the first Kit Kat jingle. Give me a break. Give me a break, yeah, break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar. And I made a nice taste from that for many years because you get residuals every time they run it on TV. Taught myself to be a web producer. Got tired of the jingle biz, this crazy, wacky thing called the internet was appearing in the early 90s. Read a lot of books, learned about HTML, went to a lot of classes. Got some jobs at a couple of seminal interactive agencies in New York. It was in the early 90s, CBS Partners, Eagle River Interactive. Met a woman on the train who worked at, of all places, IBM, and she said, we're hiring. Would you ever want to work at IBM? And I said, what would I do at IBM? I can't imagine. I'm like a rock and roll bass player guy, and I write jingles. She's like, well, you know how to produce websites, so that's what we need. And there weren't a lot of people at the time who knew how to do it. So lo and behold, I got hired by IBM, much to my surprise, let me tell you. But she said, the woman who hired me, this VP said, and this is germane to our conversation today, she said, the same qualities that made you successful as a freelance bass player in Manhattan will make you successful at IBM. She said you've got to be a creative problem solver, you've got to be resourceful and resilient, you've got to be comfortable with ambiguity, you've got to be able to work across disciplines, you've got to be able to understand your role as a global citizen. Can you start next week? I was like, what? So I worked there for 15 years. I just retired 5 years ago. By the way, this is my avatar in Second Life. I did a lot of work in virtual universe communities and social media. After IBM, I've been doing sort of freelance writing and speaking about the future of work. This is my TED Talk. I did a TEDx Times Square. It's on YouTube. You can check it out. It's kind of fun. Again, writing and thinking about the future. So what got me into this space was my alma mater called me up and said, would you come give a keynote address to our college to kick off a senior week? And I began reflecting on all these different careers. I said, well, I'm kind of the model, the poster child for the way all of you guys are going to work. Right? You're going to have a lot of different careers doing different things, doing jobs that don't exist. So that's how I sort of got intrigued with it. Let's talk about socio-historical perspective. So here's a pop quiz. Any history buffs in here? Anybody into history? Industrial revolutions? Okay. So this is a quote I'm going to give you. And I want you to tell me who said it and when the person said it and what it was about. Okay, you ready? Put on your thinking caps. I know it's lunchtime, you haven't had a sandwich, but here we go.
My
So
search
here's the
engine
quote.
ready.
I refuse to issue a patent for fear it will put my poor subjects out of work. Bum, bum, bum. Right? So the first clue, right, is what? Subjects, exactly, right? So this is a monarch of some kind. So it could be happening today, yeah.
Can I guess?
Yeah, guess, please.
Carnegie?
Carnegie, well, that's a good guess, yeah. But he didn't have subjects per se, right? So this has got to be probably like a king or a queen, right? Any other guesses? Who might have said those? Mr. Boss? No? Yeah, you got
Alexander Bell.
that's a good guess as well, but not the right answer. You'll be surprised, believe me. Any other ideas?
Queen
Yeah, yeah.
Elizabeth?
Who?
Queen Elizabeth?
Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah, it's actually on these, you have your slideshow posted, it's actually there.
Oh, is there? Okay, so, and people have done that today. Look at my slideshow. That's all right. So
You
Queen
refuse to
Elizabeth, for
succeed.
sure. So she said it, and what she said it about, right? She said it about a mechanized knitting machine. That somebody had come to her with a patent for creating a mechanized knitting machine, and in today's parlance, it'd be like, well, the cats downtown don't have the chops to like cut it with that new thing, man. How are they gonna like work if you put a knitting machine in it? Doesn't need people like weaving and wefting and whatever. So, and she said it in 1589. Yikes. It was like 450 years ago or so. So just by way of saying, you know, we've been having a discussion about technology disrupting the job market way before Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, right? Make sense? Right? So just like take a deep breath. This has been going on for a while. It's going to be many of the top jobs today didn't exist like 5 years ago, right? Or even more recently. So autonomous vehicle operator, you know, that wasn't a job 5 years ago. Someone to sit in one of those Google Clown cars and wend their way around Mountain View, right? Blockchain software, that's, you know, taken over. Walmart has now announced they're going to use blockchain to manage the food supply, right? That's pretty wild. Data scientists, 3D printer operator. They're now 3D printing vascular tissue at Harvard. Organs and blood vessels, right? Sustainable energy. My nephew worked for Solar City for a couple of years. That wasn't a job like 5 years ago. Data scientist, I was in a meeting last year at a hedge fund of all places, not my usual hangout, but the guy who runs it said, I just fired 100 analysts and hired 9 data scientists. Because I need people who can look at lots of different data and connect the dots in new and interesting ways, the way data scientists are trained to do. Right? Anybody study data science or computer science? It's a burgeoning field, for sure. So, for perspectives, okay, pop quiz number 2. So, this is a government agency, U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, right? It's not me making it up and pulling it out of the air. They say that today's learners are going to have a certain number of jobs by a certain age. So who wants to guess how many jobs? How many jobs do you think that this public sector government organization, pretty conservative, pretty risk averse, right? Guesses, yeah.
Let's say 5 jobs by 30.
5 jobs by 30, that's a good guess. It's actually low. Other guesses, yeah.
Oh, it's more than 5.
He said 5. No, it's more than 5.
Was it around 20 something, 25?
Well, so that's high.
50?
It's in the middle. So it doesn't belabor it, but they say that you guys will have 8 to 10 jobs by the time you're, and how old do you think? Guesses for age?
30?
30, that's a good guess. So they're saying 38, right? 8 to 10 jobs, and because you can, and because you want to, because you're smart and you're interesting and creative, and there's a lot of opportunity out there. Now that's, you know, that's the average, that's a standard mean, right? Mean derivation. Some may have more, some may have less, but this is, again, a government agency, so file that away, that's pretty remarkable, right? 85% of the jobs you're going to do haven't been invented in the COVID. This number varies, but that's kind of the general consensus, that's what research would tell us. You're going to use technology that doesn't exist, implantable medical devices, holographic content generation, vertical farms, and you can use it to solve problems we don't yet know are problems, right? Because problems are always evolving and morphing and changing. So that's kind of a framework, that's some perspective historically, right? All right, let's talk a little bit about what the jobs might be, because I was talking to Mark before, and I think a lot of times when people talk about the future and the future of work, they say, well, we don't know what the jobs are going to be, we have no idea, it's going to be all new stuff, new technology. But in fact, we can get a sense of what the jobs are going to be. And I want to talk to you a little bit about why we can do this, that there are signals that we can parse and collect and react to. So when I graduated from college, it was a very different world in 1972, giving my age away. So there were no iPads, there were no cell phones, hardly. I had to call my mother on a payphone, it was expensive. There was no Facebook, no Twitter, there were no blogs, there was no SpaceX, Virgin Galactic, right? They've identified the first tourist who's going to go around the moon in Elon Musk's vehicle. No wearable computers. There's a very, very different world. So the stuff that I've seen has been pretty remarkable, and the stuff you're going to see is going to be even more amazing. Nanopharmacy is a job. That's going to be a job. That's going to combine mechanical engineering at the nanoscale and pharmacology at the molecular level, right? Delivering drugs right to the cell in the tumor. Robotic ethicists. Who owns who's the owner of the action that a robot commits? Awkward way to say it, but like somebody, where does that proverbial buck stop? Is it the robot's fault? Is it the software developer's fault? Is it the company that built it? We don't know, but we're going to have to figure it out, and people are working on it. Who wants to go to Mars? Really? That's all? Really? That's all? Okay. Well, certainly some of you will. To be honest, they want people that can procreate, at the risk of being candid. Your kids, some of your kids will definitely, when I go, like I'm out on the street or elementary school, I see little kids, they say kids in grade school are the ones, they're going to be the first ones to populate Mars, right? So, again, geology and Mars, how do you do that? What kind of devices do you use? The materials we can repurpose, maybe they're going to build habitats using robots, using 3D printing. Anyway, it's happening, believe me, they're working on it. Anyone ever into VR? Anyone use a VR headset? Oculus or? You know of it, yeah? Second Life, yeah. Anyone put on the VR thing and kind of wandered around, yeah?
I did
So
some
what
VR.
did you do?
I did some development for VR for Oculus Rift.
And what was the output? What was the product?
It was never published. I was working at a startup, funding ran out. We were trying to make a safe space program. All it managed to do was it played music when you clap your hands, and you were able to pick books out off the shelf with your grounding motion.
Oh, yeah. Well, so there are amazing virtual reality and augmented reality solutions about here. If you have a chance to try one, please try one. I mean, there are places in the mall where you can take like a virtual safari with these headsets. Brain surgeon are using virtual reality to determine where to go in, where to slice, where to make an incision. I mean, they're creating 3D images and you can kind of walk around it. And augmented reality.
Yeah, we have VR set Oculus in the tech incubator, and you're welcome to contact us and give it a try. And there's a group of students actually working on different projects with it. And there's also 3D Unity gaming class going on right now, and they're going to continue offering classes around that.
There you go. So yes, so take advantage of that resource here. Because it's coming. It's, and all kinds of content, educational, medical, entertainment. What do these new jobs, potential careers have in common? They have this in common. The fact that they intersect at disciplines that haven't historically been connected, right? So nanopharmacology, machines at the nanoscale and pharmacy at the atomic scale. These are the macro level indicators that are generating jobs, right? So keep that in mind as you monitor the future workplace for yourself.
You mark it on my calendar.
Unlikely disciplines connecting in new ways. And it's been going on again for hundreds of years. So technology, back to the steam engine driving knitting machines that Queen Elizabeth balked at, right? Same kind of model. So what new learning and work models? And some of the educators may be apprehensive about this, but anybody know what Uncollege? So this is Dale Stevens. He wasn't ready to go to college right away after he graduated from high school. So we started a program, a 9-month kind of gap year, focused on leadership skills and public service and social agendas. And you go and be part of this team. He's been doing this for like, I think, 10 years. It's a really interesting program. Another way to learn and gain skills you can use in the workplace. You guys familiar with MOOCs? MOOCs? Anyone take a MOOC? So massive open online courses. And there's a ton of vendors. Coursera is the gorilla. They have the most content, but edX is affiliated with MIT and Harvard. A lot of it is free. They issue nano degrees and certificates of completion, which more and more employers are embracing. Khan Academy, of course. Teal Fellowships. Teal Fellowships will give you $100,000 to drop out of school if you have a good business idea. Anyone have a good business? Who wants to start a business? All right, cool. So you should have to talk to the gang, yeah. But the idea is you apply, and I think they've had 60 companies that they've incubated that have generated like $1.1 billion in attributable revenue. So if you have an idea, think about reaching for this kind of organization. Let's talk about Google. Who Google looks to hire. Anybody want to work at Google? Anybody working at Google? Internships? Anybody doing internships? So a pretty forward-thinking company, to be fair. I think it's worth noting, this is from an interview that Laszlo Bock, their Chief Human Resource Officer, did with Thomas Friedman in the New York Times, about who they look for at Google, who they want to hire. The last thing on the list is worth noting, expertise. Right? Now, to be fair, they have legions of coders writing stuff for Google search and for lined up with AdWords and Google Docs. But what they really care about is general cognitive ability. He says GPA and test scores are worthless. They don't tell them what they need to know. Because their portfolio of products and services is evolving so quickly that a niche skill is not what they need. They need people who can think on their feet, process on the fly, learn things to solve problems. Also, to step in at the appropriate time and demonstrate leadership, articulate a strategy or an approach clearly, and then acquiesce if someone has a better idea, or use parts of your idea to develop a new approach, right? Humility, it can't be like it worked because I'm a genius and it failed because everyone else is lame. So that's a perspective you've got to have. Again, I'll share these charts with you guys. But that's what they're looking for. That's who Google hires, right? So another quiz. So this is Google X, a Googleplex in Mountain View, California. And you all know about their autonomous vehicles program, right? That they've got like over 1 million miles on these vehicles. So where do you think they go when they're looking for drivers for the clown cars? For the little, these have no steering wheel, they only go 25 miles an hour. Where do you think they look for people to get in these cars and manage them and capture the data and make recommendations? Any guesses?
Grad students?
Grad students, yeah, that's a good guess. Other ideas?
It's far-fetched.
Prison.
Prison.
Yeah, well, they may. I don't know that they do, but they may. Where else? Where else do you think they look at?
So maybe through LinkedIn, they would find engineers or whoever specializes in this kind of technology?
Yeah, that's a good guess. Through LinkedIn, you don't hear that? Through LinkedIn, looking for engineers that specialize in autonomous technology. Other guesses? No. Okay, so you may be surprised, but this is where they look. Craigslist. That's who they hire. People like you that are looking to buy like a used stereo and a queen-size headboard and a job at Google X sitting in a driverless vehicle, right? So new models, right, around how this works, how employers and employees interact. Upwork, an online freelancer marketplace. You could do work, data entry or writing work or web content development using this tool. There are a lot of Fiverr, lots of these kinds of tools. Again, online marketplaces that employers and employees. I've used this both as an employee and employer. I do some writing and research for Institute for the Future in Palo Alto, and they use this tool exclusively. New models around working this is Grand Central Tech in New York. You apply to get accepted to their class of whatever year. And if you are accepted, they give you free rent and funding and access to venture capital and to mentors. And you work in the space for 2 years, and you're kind of cheek to jowl, you're shoulder to shoulder with other interesting, creative people starting companies. That's going on, you know, like 5 miles from here in Midtown. And there are lots of models like this as well that you can get involved in. So it's a cool. Sure. Okay, so the Future Careers Toolkit. So this is the fun part. I codified how I navigated through these 7 careers into 3 future career tools. And I call them voice, antenna, and mesh. Okay? Voice is sort of your brand on steroids, and it comes from my musical thing, right? So, you know, you say a musician has a voice, like whenever you hear John Coltrane play, you know that that's him. When you hear Michael Jackson sing, you know that's his kind of tone. His records sound a certain way. Beyonce, you know, Elvis Costello, whomever, Elvis Presley, it's their voice. So you all each have a voice. We're going to do an exercise to kind of get focused on what that is. Then antenna is checking what's going on the planet from a social, cultural, political, technological, spiritual, whatever perspective, and mapping your skills to this ongoing evolution, like stuff going on the planet. And then mesh is using tools to connect with like-minded people, tools like LinkedIn, like social media tools, right? All right, so you ready to do a little thinking and exercise here? So the first one I want to do is voice with you guys. So the way I want you to get to it, this is like what qualities make you stand out. And you can think about it in a bunch of different ways. And the trigger I want to use, and keep in mind it'll change over your work life, but I want to use, pick a favorite book or a movie. I'll give you sort of 5 minutes to do this little exercise, right? What, you know, from your childhood or a TV show, and what is it about that movie that sort of makes you get excited, or, you know, that aligns with your kind of worldview, right? You do that? All right, so here I'm going to put the clock on you. Because I want you to tease out the 2 or 3 aspects of the movie or the book that you relate to. It could be SpongeBob, it could be Pirates of the Caribbean, it could be whatever. I'm going to show you what mine is. So just to get you thinking, mine are Blade Runner, the recent Blade Runner. And the indication is I'm into future culture and technology. And the book I like is Rise and Fall of Nations, which is a really dry economic treatise by this guy who runs global strategy at Merrill Lynch. But it's a really interesting study of how business evolves. Okay, so you ready? I'm going to put a clock on you. 5 minutes. I want you to write down or type into your computer favorite movie or book, and then what the sort of characteristic is that aligns with who you are. And you can talk amongst yourselves if you want to interact. So what do you think it would be? Another way to think about it, like, is if you asked your friends or your parents or your teachers what they would say about you, what would that be? They go, oh, Chris is a good bass player, and he's good at technology, and he likes futuristic stuff. Okay, so here we go. 2 or 3. And I'm going to ask you to report out.
You can do it on your phone also, if you don't have the paper on computer.
Write it down. Try to find your
No, I finished chapter 2 and now I'm on chapter 3.
Worse than me.
I'm not interested. That's all my
Okay, everybody got something? Ready?
And then they have like
Put
weird.
it on the book or TV show or movie? You guys ready? Okay, so who wants to share what their voice is? Ready? Okay, here, we'll start the, we'll work our way back. Okay. Well, here we go. Here's, what's your name? Where's the mic? The mic over here. Yang, where's the mic? You have the mic? Where are the doors? There we go. Yeah, cool.
All right, here's the mic. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, brought to you with great expense to the management. So tell us your name and what's your two callers?
Yes, my name is Andrew,
Andrew?
and the book that tells a lot about me is Abundance from Peter Diamandis, and it's
So tell people, the people don't know what that is.
he goes into describing how in the past we lived in a world of scarcity, like with aluminum was very scarce, and how now everything is becoming more abundant and people are having more access to resources that were never even anticipated before.
I'm worried to write this stuff down, but anyway. So, and what was the characteristic sort of that resonated with you that you could say is part of your voice?
Well, it gives access to a lot of people, like the technology and resources, and I envision a world like that, and it's something that I'm really passionate about.
Yeah, okay, so that's great. Yeah, bravo, that's very good. All right, yeah, a little, thank you for sharing it. Guts to do that. Who's next? Who wants to share? All right, here, take the mic back. So what book or movie or TV show, what's the characteristic again that kind of came out?
Well, for movie, for those of you that are anime fans, you probably know this one. I'm an anime fan myself. Princess Mononoke. Yeah, anyone know that? Show of hands. Anyone know it? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very good film. Very good film.
What's the quality of that
The
film that
quality of the
resonates
film
with you?
that I find is it's hard to actually define a clear villain in it. That, I mean, towards the end it becomes a little clearer, but throughout the film you see that the two main sides involved in the conflict are arguably doing what they feel is best for their people and see no other alternative out of it than to continue doing what they're doing, even if it hurts the other side.
So what is the characteristic that resonates with you that says, like someone said to you, that describes you in a certain way?
That there is no real right or wrong in the situation. At the end of the day, you have to look toward what you need to do the best to improve your own situation, while at the same time thinking about sustainable economics.
Okay, that's good. So improving your own situation, sustainable economics. So file that away, right? Bravo, well done. Good show. All right, who else? Someone else share. We have a brave woman. Come on, we've had two guys. We need the fair sex. Not to sound like I'm sexist, but it's important to hear what women think. Someone share? Here, I'm going to volunteer you. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Lisa. I picked Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy,
The movie or the book?
the book.
For you, that's a big book.
It's a thick book, yeah. And I guess the sort of topic that relates to me is curiosity, as well as just the expansive technology in the story.
Yeah. Cool. So those are great macro concepts, right? So, yeah, cool. Thank you very much.
I want to give a shout out to Lisa today, and she volunteered to help us in the front when you walked in, and everybody give her applause.
One more, someone else, a book or a movie or that reflects their voice, because we're going to take this on to the next exercise. Well, anybody, one more? Come on, one more volunteer. Here we go. The gentleman in the middle. Pass this down. Tell us your name and who you're looking.
My name is Gavin, and the book that I chose was is by Ralph Ellison. It's called The Invisible Man. So that would relate to like somebody's like social identity, and I guess a world like that's that we can consider like inauthentic. So that was the book that I chose, and the movie was Shawshank Redemption.
Oh yeah, that's a great. So again, so share what's the aspect of that book and the movie that sort of reflects your voice? Like what is it that resonates with you about those two media pieces?
I say probably like as Lisa said, like curiosity. So in like Shawshank Redemption, the guy's able to escape out of prison. So it's something that's like outside of the norm.
Yeah, cool. Okay, good. Bravo. Nicely done. All right, so that's voice, right? You guys have a sense of what that is, right? And again, it's like ultimately would be like, what is it that people would say about you? Right? That's what we're trying to get to. You know, what is it about you that's unique that you bring to the marketplace, the job marketplace, if you will? So thinking of your brand, but kind of on steroids, you know, writ large. Right? Okay, so that's voice. Let's go on to antenna. So the idea for this piece of the second tool in this future career toolkit is around antenna, and it's what's going on the planet. What are the things that you follow, the people you monitor, the periodicals, the TV shows you watch, and I want you to take the findings from the voice, your voice thinking, and lay it into this matrix, right? So here's the voice attribute. So I'll show you mine in a minute, but I want you to give you a blank form, right? So maybe it's curiosity, maybe it's economic parity around the world, maybe it's doing good for the planet. And then think about what the sources might be. So is it the BBC News? Is it the New York Times? Is it TED Talks? Is it other books that you've read? Is it somebody's blog? Is it somebody's Pinterest account? Somebody's Instagram account? Somebody on LinkedIn? Is it, you know, the resources, wherever they might be. All right, and I want you to list 3 of the attributes, 2 or 3. 3 is like you did, right, from your voice analysis. And then what are the sources? And kind of describe what it is, right? Is that clear? Do you want me to show you what mine is, or you got a sense of it? I'll show you what mine is. So for future culture, I look at this website and newsletter called Futurism. I read the New York Times for sure, print and digital, to kind of see what their take is on future culture. Tech, I read MIT Tech Review. If you're a tech person, you should definitely be checking this magazine out. BBC Click is a fantastic TV show that's on once a week, produced by the BBC about emerging technologies and implications for business and work and careers, right? And my global business, as I said, I'm a bit of an economist nerd. Bloomberg Tech is another great TV show that's on every day. And then the Wall Street Journal, right along with their political perspective, they talk about business and technology in a very succinct way. Okay, so I want to give you, so I said 10, so I'm going to give you like 7 minutes or something. Think about sources. How would you source based on the voice characteristics that you teased out? What information would you get? Where would you get it? I want you to read out and describe it. And this is a good time to actually turn to the person next to you. I want you to do this like one-on-one, right? Based on what you guys said about your voice. Because one of you may know you have resources that the other isn't aware of, right? So turn to the person next to you. We want that, okay? Or 3 together is fine. But one of your colleagues, one of your brilliant fellow Queens College students, might say, oh, have you thought about this? Or did you check this out? Or I know about this cool guy or gal that does this and that stuff. All right? Good? All right, so pair up. I'm going to give you 7 minutes. I want people to read out the list, what they come up with.
John. So yeah, I chose the book. Changing baseball calendar.
Okay. You could turn to this gentleman. The anime guy. Yeah, why don't you guys collaborate, right?
Yes.
3 ladies in the middle. Right, good.
Right.
You have someone?
Winnie.
You're fine.
what's your medium or what's your voice telling you?
I was always athletic, I grew up playing it, so passionate.
Three
Very good.
topic, serve or contribute to your society or to your talent.
When you play it, you get more
Like say, no matter what you do.
Yeah, I did. College. I actually worked here. But yeah, I think
articles about where
great experience.
like people who have great accomplishments. There are all kinds of assessments where you can do everyday things to help benefit others.
I played with my son. What about you? How do you like electronics?
So you can find a career.
Are you a fan of light novels? That's what I'm looking away from.
I haven't read much.
You might like the series Release that way. Essentially, it's a similar premise. It's a similar guy that's transported to another world storyline, but there's glitches and each one has their own individual powers. Creating an industrial revolution. It's my choice. There's a lot of chapters. Kind of, okay, so you got one slide down. Let's go. Well, no, you got enough sort of steps here. Let's go for another Tell me your experience.
That's like one topic
Actually, so much stuff you don't know.
in our version. Tech-based world. Manipulate anything.
That's why I want That's why
You like to see
yeah, I've seen a lot of documentaries of Mars.
using the tools they have.
Mars that name.
Then find your journal set or stories about new inventions, such as invention of prosthetic limbs, newspaper articles, programs. I
Elon Musk.
You can tell me.
Okay, 2 minutes.
I'm a big fan of Miyazaki.
If I get the ball a lot farther, right? This is a lot less gravity.
Okay, everybody got sources?
There's no atmosphere.
That's one of the four things. Not being appreciated by both children and adults.
One day, maybe one day, I might look at I like writing.
And what do you do for fun?
All right, so how was that? Is that hard, easy, whatever? To make the alignment between the voice stuff and where you source information related to that? Any ranking, hard, easy, interesting? Yeah. Okay, so who wants to talk about where would they be looking for information? Where would they be tuning their antenna, getting their spidey sense out there to pull this information based on their voice? Who wants to go? Yeah. The lady who worked alone, by the way, I just want to say.
My name is Jennifer, and my 3 voice attributes, I chose environmental, politics, and business. So for environmental news, I noticed that I tend to go to National Resources Defense Council, which they're like an organization. They tend to like inform a lot. They tend to like write news a lot, like what's happening, like headlines, like.
What are they called again?
NRDC, National Resource Defense Council, and I also go to GRIS, which use social media like Instagram to see like what's going on. They also have like a website too, just read through news and articles that they post. Politics, I thanks to my one of my business classes, even before then, but like I do more of it now. I read the New York Times. I use my app and the website, but I try to like read in print. Also starting to like read more. Began the semester reading the Wall Street Journal, and in business, I subscribe to this email, the Morning Brew.
Oh yeah, I know Morning Brew. Yeah. Funny attitude, but cool stuff.
Yeah, and also Forbes.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. So that's great. Thank you. That's so who else? That's the mapping for sure. Someone else connecting their voice to content. Come on. Don't be shy. We're all friends here. All right. What's your name?
Yeah. My name is Wilson. I would say that my voice is, are actually space travel, curiosity, and those two actually. For my sources, I said it will be YouTube, and it's a guy named Andrew Dawson. He's actually just, it's a way he documents his daily life as a physics student, and so I try to get as much information from him as possible. And I also watch Netflix, so shows like The Cosmos and TED Talks, especially by Neil deGrasse Tyson or other astrophysicists and astronomers also. So those are some of the ways I keep myself motivated and informed.
Yeah, great. That's
Thank you.
perfect. Thank you. Fantastic. Yeah. All right, one other, then before we go on to Mesh. One other person. I'm going to be brave. I know you're hungry, and I know it's Wednesday. Hump day. Hey, come on, one other person. Okay, here we go. We'll do it for both of you, because it's insightful. Okay, yeah, so name and...
Hi guys, my name is Yassine. So putting this together, I have 2 things in mind. The first one is mastery, and I just like to really do the things that I do, but do them really well. And I think personal development books have been really helpful, and also people who are successful in their careers, just feedback from them has also been very helpful. And my second attribute would probably be entrepreneurship. And I think just following a lot of young entrepreneurs on LinkedIn has been a great source of sharing their journey and whatnot.
Yeah. Great. So that's great. All right. Go ahead. Tell us your name.
My name is Andrew, and so I picked 3 voices. One is global communities or global consciousness. And for that, I listen to a bunch of podcasts, like the Future Thinkers podcast and Neurohacker Collective, where they talk about different ways that we can all come together as a global community.
Neurohacker Collective?
Neuro, yeah.
Cool.
And another one is neuroscience. So I search up a bunch of colleges and universities that are doing stuff that I'm interested in. YouTube. There's an institute called the Santa Fe Institute that does really, really cool stuff. And then I also have Future Entrepreneurship. So one of those sources is Singularity University, where they're both a graduate school and a tech incubator that they want to start really cool things in there.
Yeah, see, you guys know Singularity University, you know about that place? It's really interesting. It's sort of like a university and a tech incubator, it's like an old Air Force base. Ray Kurzweil was one of the co-founders, leading futurists, right? Just put out a new book, I think. So that's great, thank you very much, Andrew. All right, so the third and final future career tool, right, is kind of tying these together, and it's called, I call it MESH. So first question is, raise your hand if you have a LinkedIn profile. Is there anybody here who doesn't have a LinkedIn profile? Okay, this is me as an old guy wagging my finger and admonishing you, but in a loving way. Because LinkedIn is the lingua franca. It is, you know, the language, the code of the realm, the coin of the realm. You have to have a LinkedIn profile, just saying. And those of you who don't have one, find somebody who's got one. A friend, a neighbor, a classmate. You've got to have some kind of presence on LinkedIn. And those of you who have them, you need to go back after our session and check it out. You need to make it look unbelievable. Put really interesting, varied stuff in there. It really shows who you are, what you do, who you follow. So, among other things, recruiters and startup companies and whoever are looking for brains like you guys ago, they go to LinkedIn and they see not only what you've done, but who you follow, what groups you're in, how often you post. Are you putting up posts or updates about what you're doing or where you are, who you're involved with, events you go to, volunteer organizations you participate in, whatever, right? So I'm serious as a heart attack about this, guys. You really, really got to think about it. Just, you know, it's not a choice. It's not something I made up. It's not a decision I made. Now, that said, LinkedIn is a fantastic company, and their mantra is that they want to connect talent with opportunity at scale. I mean, that's the mantra of the VP of Global Talent Acquisition. Happens to be a friend of mine. I mean, it's not just your CV, your resume. It's like how to make you guys, empower you guys and gals to be successful in this new model. So anyway, so what I want you to do, if everyone have like a phone or a computer or something that they can get on the internet with, they can get on LinkedIn. Yeah, everybody good? Okay, if not, maybe, you know, if you take this exercise on. The idea, what I want you to do is I want you to go on LinkedIn. I want you to search for groups or people. Search for people first that, you know, have align with one of your voice characteristics. So pick one. Entrepreneurship, you know, global economics, environmental issues, whatever, right? And I want you to find 3 people that are in that space using search criteria, and it's robust. You can define it, but I want you to use broad terms. And I want you to connect with one of them. I want you to pick one and send them a note. You know, you can send a connect note with a personalized note. I'd also work on a sidebar admonishment. You guys have a professional version of LinkedIn. It's like $25 a month. I know that could be a lot for college students, but what it does 2 things. It puts a little imprimatur, a little marker, a little sticker on your profile that indicates that you're pro, the intimation being you're aware of the power of this tool. And the other really cool thing is it lets you send what are called in-mails, which are like digital cold calls. You can find someone that you don't know and send them a note. It's a little more formal. You've got to put in like a title and a formal closing. But I've used it a lot. I've reached for people. There was a guy at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation doing interesting stuff in education. I don't know who he was, but I tracked him down on LinkedIn. And I sent him an email, and we had a wonderful hour-long conversation about what they're doing and his approach to education within that context, right? And then I want you to find a group based on your topic. And most of the groups are open. Some you have to request to join. And I want you to either join it or request to join it. Okay? And then I want you to tell me what you did. And I want you to describe who you found, who you might connect with. Because again, the mesh concept, right, is an adage that's oft ascribed to showbiz, but it's true today in every biz. It's not what you know, it's who you are. Right? And now we have the tools to do it. I'm going to share a little bit of CRM sidebar as well, but I want you to, let's do this exercise next. This is the final kind of piece of this toolkit, right? Make sense? All right, that's really important. So you don't have a computer to do it. And your phone, you do it on your phone, yeah. Okay, ready? Here we go. Let's do this fast, 5 minutes. Don't worry. All right, here we go. 5 minutes, and I want you to tell me who you found, what they do, where they are, what company, organization they're in, and what group you found, and what they do, what they talk about. Okay, ready? Go. Use the app, use your phone, whatever you need. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, maybe find someone near you who's got one. Connect with them. I'm not pointing fingers.
Hey, Brian?
Just
do you have a LinkedIn account?
Yeah.
Great.
You want to connect?
One thing you can do today is to link in with Chris.
Please.
Yeah. You're part of the group?
All right, sure, yeah. You see all my goofy, crazy career stuff is all on there. There's even more like wild pictures of me when I go on here on stage. Yeah.
No, what do you want me to do?
Oh, you can find
Just an idea.
I mean,
Yeah.
you're busy with this, right?
No, no, I'm
I'm a
fine.
person.
I already signed up for a group and connected with 3 people.
Find a group.
I am game developer. I'm a mobile developer myself.
So you create mobile games?
Yeah. Published videos, but nothing really that good.
Like passion project, I guess?
Kind of. I do hope they make money.
So I guess like you send them out to like, potential companies and you ask them for things like
You know, I published them.
I didn't know.
so it's like you have your own company
Kind of, yeah.
and then you're looking for people to either buy your game or something.
No, advertising. That's how fast to make money. Advertising.
So promoting.
So, what would you like me to do? You said you wanted me to go into my LinkedIn account and do something?
Sure. Using criteria to LinkedIn search for in this area. Okay. Criteria. There is tech. There's I don't know if these counts. Instant travel.
It says Kevin.
And then there is self-made careers.
It's KAB, but on your page it's
Sorry, the connection speed is a little slow, so give me a moment.
It's alright. I think Mark Zuckerberg is one of the examples of that. Like, coming up with tech. I don't know about instant travel, but he sort of made his own career already using Facebook.
No, I
don't know if he's like chief coder of the site or something, or if he has some like group of people helping him.
What, Mark Zuckerberg?
Yeah.
You ever see the movie Facebook? The whole thing. He's playing it down, kind of. He's not depicted as a nice person.
Like a main boss, right?
No, more. Have you ever seen Big Bang Theory?
Yeah.
He's kind of like Sheldon. At least that's how he's depicted. I don't know him in real life.
So it's kind of like the origins of Facebook.
Yeah, it's about him creating Facebook and 2 other people originally came to him with the idea and they sued him. Yeah, have you ever heard of the Winklevoss twins?
Not so much to catch up on.
It's a very famous case. There's like 100 million. Yeah. They said they got like 100 million.
What are you guys doing?
There's a community involvement group. You could use that as a reference.
Yeah, I was saying, Andrew came across a post that I did on LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah.
I was just in London last week, actually, I gave a talk at an AI conference called Your Brain's Too Small to Run Your Business.
Yeah, so if anybody, I'm from the Career Center, my name is Mark Klein. If anybody needs help with your LinkedIn profiles, we can help you with that. So we have walk-in hours Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And you can come in during our walk-in hours, we can help you with your LinkedIn profile. Because LinkedIn is a great tool. It really is.
Just to add to that, we are organizing a Microsoft Office visit in October, and they are offering a free LinkedIn headshot during that visit. So anybody interested, let us know.
Thank you, Mark, that's great. Yeah. We have that resource right here. Okay, so pencils down, mindful of the time. How was that? Any visceral reaction? Was it hard, easy? Were you able to find people that are doing it? Not so much?
It's a bit more difficult.
Yeah, more difficult than you thought? Yeah, I mean, it takes, LinkedIn is huge, right? So, and you might need to narrow criteria a little bit to get to the right target. So who found somebody and connected with them? Somebody describe? Somebody find somebody? Yeah?
Now, to be fair, LinkedIn is not that different from Facebook. Connecting with someone is not particularly hard. You just search out an interest and you find it here immediately.
Yeah, so who did you find?
I'm a mobile developer. I just typed in game development and immediately a group popped up. I sent a connection to the leader of the group, then selected selected a connection request for a sound engineer and a person who works at Facebook.
Great. So that's great. So that's the idea. So that's the starting process, right? So then once you're in a group, you engage in a conversation and you watch and see who's talking about what. And you can lurk. It's okay to be a lurker. But at some point, you want to jump in and say, well, here's what I think about that. Or did you read this article about that? Or I spoke to a guy about this or a gal about that. Who else? Someone share who else they found or a group they found. Oh, yeah. Please.
So I typed in and since I'm an environmental major, I typed in environmental business or environmental law. So it was kind of intimidating, to be honest. I found people, but I actually connected with one person. But I actually have a question though.
Okay.
Is it necessary or helpful to write a message prior to connecting with that person, saying hey, hello, kind of introduce yourself, or only until after?
No, I think it's always good to write some kind of introductory note. So you can, there's on the app and on the website, right, there's a connect button.
Yeah.
And there's the ellipse, right, 3 little dots. And you can say personalize, contact a personalized invitation. I'm not sure of the exact language. But the idea is just to put in, some kind of introductory remarks that ties to your voice.
Okay.
I'm interested in environmental law. I'm studying here at Queens College. I saw your name listed that you work at whatever. I'm interested in learning more about what you're doing. I'd be delighted to connect with you on LinkedIn. All the best, whatever.
Yeah.
So they have some context.
Thank you.
Yeah. But that's great. Who else? Somebody else? Yeah.
I just have a question. Will it help students more in terms of their connection? Will it help students more in terms, thank you, I'm sorry. It helps students more in terms of their connection to say that they're students? Will people be more likely to connect with them if they mention that they're students but not ask for jobs? Because I know that's an absolute no-no. You shouldn't be asking for an internship through LinkedIn. But you might want to get to know someone and get to know a little bit more about the industry or about their career.
Yeah, I would say err on the side of candor, because they're going to figure out you're a student. Anyway.
So just say you're a student.
Just say you're a student. Be honest. I'm a student and I'm studying this and I'm interested in what you're doing. group is talking about, you put a group request, so, there's a leader who'll have to probably vet it and respond, but yeah, be candid. And be excited, be enthusiastic. I loved your book, or I really liked your YouTube video, right? So I read your article, your blog post, it was really cool, and I'm thinking of doing something in this field. I'd like to have a conversation with you. I would even be pushy. I say, if you're local, can we have coffee? I mean, that's pretty formal season, why not? Or could we have a Skype call or a Zoom call or whatever, and just spend 30 minutes like learning about what you do and introducing myself and talking about it.
And I know quite a few of you here are SEEP students. I have an assignment that I actually give my classes called a career research assignment that takes them through the steps of just researching someone's career. And I'll be happy to share that with you if you connect with someone and get to the point that you do have the opportunity to meet with them face to face. Please just feel free to see me during my office hours.
You know how to get a hold of you?
Yeah, they can find me. If you can't find me, this is Daria, and she's my assistant person. And her office hours are posted on the door. So,
great. Thank you. One other person, someone else connect with somebody that they want to share, or a group that they found that was interesting. Some new voices. We got someone.
Who hasn't talked.
Well, let's talk. Just tell us what you did, who you found, or a group that you found. All right, here, this gentleman. All right.
So I'm interested in.
Take the mic, sir. Tell us your name.
So my name is Carlos, right? I'm also all about entrepreneurship, right? But I'm looking into aviation entrepreneurship. I'm looking more about being a business leader and sort of owner. So I'm looking into the corporate field, and I looked up the aviation corporate field, and I tried to connect with this vice president, and he's in aviation finance at People's Capital and Leasing Corp. So that means that he, I guess, invests into these sort of aviation finance.
So that's great. So that's a great point in that, so aviation is a big discipline, right? It's a big area. There's investors investing in it. There are companies like Boeing and SpaceX that are building stuff, right? There are startups that are part of a supply chain or ecosystem that provides parts or pieces or technology or avionics to airplane companies. So I would cut a broad swath here on the side of reaching for lots of different people in that space. People generally respond. You may not hear from people at the VP or the C-suite level, right? Execs running big companies may not get back to you, but look for their lieutenant. So if you reach for the CEO of Boeing, you don't hear from him or her. Don't be offended, but look for who are his direct reports, right? Who works with him, because you can see that. And work your way kind of down the food chain, but err on the side of being gutsy. Go for the top. And you never know. Someone like, we were looking for a kid from Leeds College of Sixth Economics to come and intern with us next summer out in Seattle. Right? So that's great. All right, cool. All right, so quick sidebar on CRM, just because it's so key to this kind of stuff. Are you guys familiar with that term? CRM, Customer Relationship Management. It's software that people use to sell. So these are sort of three examples. Salesforce is the industrial strength enterprise version. It's very expensive, very powerful, connects to back-end systems like SAP. But it's how big sales teams at big companies manage the pipeline, how they manage the P&L, profit and loss, right? But since you're not dealing with that, but you want to know who you talk to, when you talk to them, what they said, who they're connected to, upload a file related to them. This is my favorite. It's called Less Annoying CRM. Is that a perfect name? It was built by these two computer science kids at WashU in St. Louis because they thought the other tools were so kludgy and clumsy and expensive and intractable that they built this really cool little tool. I use this every day, all day. It's cloud-based. You can use it on your phone, use it through a browser, wherever you can get to a browser. It's very malleable. You can put different kinds of fields into it. You can track pipelines with it if you're looking at revenue, right? You can set up calendars by different categories. I have like an AI calendar, I have a futurist calendar, I have a position calendar, engaged. So you're going to need something like this, some tool like this. And again, these are just suggestions, but it's a way to digitize. It's like better than like a spreadsheet. It's an Excel on steroids, like a contact or address book, but really designed to help you keep track of who you spoke to. And especially when you start looking for jobs or internships or whatever, you're going to need something like this. So I would investigate. These are just some suggestions. There are other ones out there. There may be ones that I don't know about. I don't presume to be an expert, but this is what I like. I've used ACT before. It tends to be a real fat client that takes up a lot of room in the hard drive. Zoe is another one I didn't like the way it was laid out. Actually, there are a lot of them. So, but just be aware as you get out to the workforce and you have 8 to 10 jobs, you're going to want to keep track. And again, the mesh idea is that you're going to have a set of contacts from college, your college friends. You're going to have contacts at your first job. You're going to have contacts where you grew up, friends in your neighborhoods. I have contacts in the music biz. I mean, it's on and on based on your areas of interest. So, it's more than you can parse. The 3-pound glucose driven reptilian brain can't really manage the degree to which you're going to have to rationalize information. Okay, so that's I'm going to skip through this. This is a fun thing, but we'll do this another time. This is creating a new job. I know I've pressed you guys a lot. So let's go to the closing piece. So again, the 3 future career tools, right? Voice, continue to reflect on what makes you unique, and know that it will evolve and change as you acquire new skills that you learn in the job or learn in a different situation. But voice is your sort of core value problem out in the workplace, right? Like, let's hire Andrew because he's into whatever and he's done this and that, and worked there and knows so-and-so and connected to whatever. Antenna. Keep your spidey sense up. Monitor what's going on. Use the tools you called out, the sources, and they're going to change as well as your voice changes. But be diligent about it. I mean, check the top ones every day. Check the secondary ones every week. The tertiary ones maybe once a month. And always be looking for new sources to keep you smart, keep you abreast of the latest, keep you on top of how jobs and skills and careers and business are morphing, because it's business at the end of the day, whether you like it or not. And on the mesh, my admonishment is add 5 people a week to your LinkedIn profile. And you need to get to the clip level of 500, by the way. That's when people realize that you're a pro, that you realize this is serious, this is important to you. Anything below 500 is kind of like amateur land, right? And that's hard, especially because you're young and you haven't been out in the world. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, so I have like 2,800 contacts. But keep in mind, you want to add 5 people a week based on the conversation about mesh, right? Link to your voice, your areas of interest. And be fearless, because the net is you guys are going to do stuff that's going to look like magic to me. Right? I'm serious. So get to it. I want to see it before I go close up. I got a couple more years. Monitor newly intersecting disciplines. Leverage transferable skills, which you'll have. Evaluate your job opportunities all the time. Be creative. Invent jobs that don't exist. And let's stay in touch. I'll see you in the future. Here's my Twitter handle. This is my email address. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Send me an email. I'm always available. I'm on the road periodically, but I'm around. I would love to continue this conversation. So I hope this was valuable, and thank you very much for your time. Off to lunch.
Thank you, Chris.
Did everyone sign? Did each student this? Everyone signed? Who didn't sign? Okay. And then you can come in, Professor Miller and I, and for some type of board of action and stamp your cards.
So there's going to be a class in this classroom, so we need to move out. If you would like to have a word with Chris, he will be outside for maybe 5 minutes, then you can talk, okay, 5 to 10 minutes. Thanks everyone for coming.
Ying, do you want me to stop the recording?
Hi. Girl, you could have just Thank you. Okay, see you on Monday. Have a great day.
Excuse me, Ying, do you want me to stop the recording?
Thank you so much, Ron.
Just want, do you want me to stop?
Now we're going to tell Neely that he might be tired now.